The sun is beginning to set along the dusty banks of the Kebar River. Exiles sit quietly in small groups, their clothes worn, their eyes reflecting disappointment and confusion. Among them is a man named Ezekiel, a young priest far from the temple he once served. On this ordinary day, in a foreign land, the air suddenly shifts. A distant rumble grows louder, and Ezekiel lifts his head. A storm cloud rushes from the north, swirling with fire and dazzling brightness. Lightning twists inside it like living veins of energy. As it draws closer, 4 strange and magnificent beings emerge. Each one has 4 faces. Each one moves with a purpose he cannot comprehend. Wings beat like the roar of rushing water. Wheels that seem to rotate within wheels glow like gemstones beside them, moving in perfect harmony. Above them all is a throne of sapphire, and on the throne sits a figure blazing with fire and brilliance. Ezekiel falls face down, trembling. He realizes he is standing before the glory of the Lord. From that moment, everything changes. The voice that speaks to him is firm, yet sorrowful. God tells Ezekiel that the people of Judah have grown stubborn, rebellious, unwilling to listen. Yet Ezekiel must speak to them regardless of their response. As a sign of this calling, God gives him a scroll to eat, covered with words of sorrow and warning. It tastes sweet in his mouth, though he knows it carries a heavy burden. So, Ezekiel begins living out messages that are honestly way more powerful than words alone. He lies on his side for hundreds of days, just to demonstrate the heavy weight of Israel's sin. He eats only rationed food, showing the suffering that's going to come during the siege. Then, he shaves his head and beard, scattering the hair to symbolize death, exile, and, well, survival. People gather around to watch, feeling confused and honestly pretty uneasy. Ezekiel becomes a living portrait of the judgment that's about to come. Then, God lifts Ezekiel in a vision and carries him back to Jerusalem. He sees what no outsider could possibly see. Inside the temple itself, there are idols standing where worship should be. The leaders are bowing to images drawn on the walls. A group of men actually turn their backs on the altar and worship the rising sun, the holy place. It's been defiled from within. And the most heartbreaking moment comes when Ezekiel sees the glory of God rise from the temple. Slowly, sorrowfully, it departs. The city that once held God's presence now stands alone. Despite Ezekiel's warnings, the people continue to listen to false prophets who promise peace, but the prophets lie, and the enemy approaches. In one of the most painful moments of his life, Ezekiel receives a message from God. His beloved wife, the delight of his eyes, will be taken from him suddenly. He is told not to mourn openly, just as the people will not be able to mourn when Jerusalem is destroyed. His grief becomes a final sign. The message is now clear. The judgment is certain. Jerusalem will fall, and Ezekiel has been chosen to help the exiles understand why. The warnings have ended, but the story of God's people is far from finished.